Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Career Talks by Council Co, a place where we try to give you insights on how to make your dreams a reality. Having said that, we have people who are experts from their field who are here to guide you with their experience and all that they've learned over the past years in their professional journey. Today, I'm really pleased to introduce our guest for the day, Dr. Hina Bua, the Vice Principal of NM College, and welcome Hina to this show.
Thank you so much, Himangi.
Okay, Hina, before we start, I have seen your journey and it's been fantastic. So, can you please share a little about you to our audience?
Okay. So, she told me I am the Vice Principal of Narsimonji College. I also head the Department of Management over there. Academics happened by accident, as I think it's a very cliched answer, as most of the professionals say. But it was a choice which was made much later in my life after I had 2 kids, and I thought that I needed to accompany my kids to their workplace, to their school. And that's when I thought of diving into education and joined a college, and the journey began right from the bottom and went on to where I am today.
That's great, and it is so important for us today to understand management as a field because our understanding is limited to the few professions that we know. So, Hina, when you say that you head the Department of Management, can you tell us that how has management evolved from the past to the current scenario, and what are the emerging careers in management?
Right. So management, I'm the head of the management department. I head the BMS program in the college. So it has always been a very popular program because apparently we create managers. But management, frankly, is no more a watertight compartment as a discipline.
Right.
Because you cannot today have a manager who says that, okay, I know all the functions of management, I know a little bit of marketing, a little bit of finance, and I'm ready to be a manager. No. Today the manager needs to be a holistic personality. He is facing a lot of agility at his workplace. Every day there is a challenge. There is a lot of uncertainty involved in managing businesses these days. So he needs to have essentially knowledge of different fields, of course management being the primary focus, but even tech, even sustainability, even logistics, a lot of aspects of the real world business needs to be known by the manager. So I would say it's evolving. At our college, we are evolving this program as a lot of special emphasis on AI. Of course, that's not going away anywhere. It's coming bigger and stronger. So a lot of focuses on AI is coming, a lot of focus on personal branding. How do you make your place, visually seen in the real world, profile building. We are doing a lot of other aspects, like a lot of co-curriculars are coming into this field. So I think and of course with NEP coming in, which is very bold, very promising, I see major changes coming in the field of management.
Right. So as you said, it's become more holistic rather than only specialized. And correctly said that AI and other tools. So the knowledge is important and ever evolving landscape is important. So Hina, tell me that how is the education in India now supporting this evolving phase? Because generally it's understood that if you really need to do management well, or you need to understand the global nuances, you technically should go abroad to study. But I'm sure that, as you said, the NEP, as you said, that your own curriculum is evolving. What are the changes that are being brought in India, and how is it helpful to a student if they remain in India?
Definitely. Going overseas is an aspirational thing, but I see that is really changing now. NEP definitely has brought about changes, but what is really changing is that the student, he's become a tech native. So from the very beginning, he is very well aware of all that's there in the entire world that is to offer. It's no more a secret, it's an open book. What are the courses, what are the programs that different universities across the world are giving at what price? Students are very smart. They are seeing the cost benefit analysis. They all have it all figured out in their head now. They are seeing, and so is even we are understanding, right? Even we are getting to see what is really meaningful to the students. We cannot say as educators that now we are a platform where information is disseminated. No, they have the information. Let's be open about this, that they have all the information. Then what do they need us for? They are needing us for developing a lot of other skills that they have. They are wanting now not to be job seekers. They want to be problem solvers. And the problems which they are going to face are going to be very unstructured. We do not know what problems are going to be in the real world. You are facing, something which is a machine, and you are going to be competing with a machine. How are you going to be ready for that situation unless you have developed the skill of agility? Being prepared at any point of time to make changes in your strategies. These real world skills we are bringing to them.
Okay.
And they cannot get this through any online course or program. They have to come to a classroom environment for that. And like say when COVID came, people thought that, is this the end of education and classroom education? But it wasn't that so. People had to come back. We are imparting a lot of different skills. Like say NM, we can say it is infamous for being strict about discipline, about attendance. But that is the plan. That I am not here only to give you something which the books can offer, that you can get it on your own. I am here to train you for the future, where your punctuality, your regularity, your discipline, your curiosity, your research inquisitiveness, all of that is going to matter in the real world, right? So as I said, I want to make a problem solver. I don't want to create a job seeker anymore.
That's awesome, and I think students are also looking forward to that.
Students are willing to study anything as long as they feel it is relevant in today's world. It is having a purpose. They ask us why we are learning this, and if we are being able to explain that, they are willing to really come out all the way and learn with you. That's that.
Yeah, so Hina, listening to you, I've realized that how important the skills are vis-a-vis just the educational qualification or the degree. And you have always said that students need to build their profile to be have the agility to be ready for all unforeseen circumstances. So when you say they need to build the profile, what is it that a student needs to keep in mind or do whilst they are pursuing the course, or if they are thinking of pursuing the course?
Right. I think profile building is extremely important now. And we encourage our students to build their profiles right from the first year they enter college, sometimes even junior college, we encourage them to do that. Because in today's world, I would say their academic grades or their degree is just one part of the entire profile. It is not their profile anymore. Because I'm not saying when I'm building a profile, I want to show how perfect I am. It's not about perfection, it is about a display of potential.
Okay.
It is about displaying that, okay, look here, these are the different areas in which I have on my own taken the initiative and gone ahead and done this. And it speaks volumes about you. Because if I just want to write, these are the grades I've got, look here, I'm so good, I've got O grades, fine. That talks about IQ. What about the other aspects? When I'm taking you in a job or when I am funding you for maybe a venture, IQ is just one small part of it. There are so many other intelligences which I want to see whether you have it in you or not. So your profile, now when I'm talking about academic skills, great, I'm talking about emotional quotients. I'm talking about, and why not spiritual quotient? I'm talking about how much you're interested in leading a healthy life, how much you're interested in going out there and seeking an internship. You're learning in the real world. And when you build that profile, you don't have to show what are the different things that you learned. Of course, what are the different skills that you built. I want to show that. I think LinkedIn even asks that, what are the different skills that you have built, because that is very important. So I want to build that. Like say at our college, we have something called that Centers of Excellence, where we have all the different areas where possibly a child could be interested. You want to read, you want to write, you want to study languages. We have language clubs, you have debate and literacy, you have nature club, you have friends of library, you have social service, NSS, Enactus, you name it, and we have at least 30 plus different areas where you can go and do your passion, follow your passion over there. Take up leadership roles. So, okay, so now in your profile when you write that, okay, I have headed the Friends of Library or made this event, okay, I see that I have a leadership skill in you. I see that there is someone who is curious for getting more knowledge, someone who is willing to read and write. That's a skill that I have demonstrated. So, and one important thing in the profile has to be research.
Okay.
That's not going away anywhere. Your thirst for innovation, because that's directly linked to problem solving.
Right.
When I bring you on board, you onto my organization, I want you to solve the problems which my organization is going to face. Right? So when you are willing to display a curious mind, I am willing to take you on board and help you, take your help in solving my problems. You know, so I think profile building, coming back to that question, profile building is the most important thing you can do.
Okay, so thank you so much for busting the myth that it's only for admissions into undergrad college.
It is not. It's for you. It's
exactly.
For you. Yeah.
So I think it's what you as a person bring to the table and how you as a person develop and hone your uniqueness and your skills. That matters in the long run.
It's a narrative that you've set up for yourself, which you want that people should read about me this way.
Okay.
You know, when I see a candidate, and if I'm giving them only 2 or 3 things like academic grades, what am I doing? I'm just a clone of all the other graduates that have come out.
Right.
But alongside, I'm giving them a lot of other things. Okay, you know, you can think about me in this way. You can think of me in a writer. You can think of me in a leader. You can think of me who is having empathy because, you know what, I went to NSS camp. Right. That's when you truly show that you have juice in you.
Awesome. I think that is something that even I really believe in. Yeah. That it's more about you as a person.
Yeah.
But generally when I enter, like for somebody who's in the junior college or somebody who's in grade 10 aspiring to enter management, do not have this sort of a purview of the system. Other than that, they even do not know what sort of courses should one select.
Yeah.
And you know, generally we go with what's in demand. But as you said, the ever-evolving landscape, you really don't know what will be the next thing.
Yeah.
So how does any person technically choose the right fit of courses or colleges for themselves? So what would you as an educator advise them to look for?
Okay. So there is no right fit.
Okay.
Yeah. In our times, we used to have one size fits all.
Right.
Correct? And we were okay with that. There were these 3 or 4 disciplines. You choose one and all those people who've chosen commerce get exactly the same thing.
Right.
Now the problem is of plenty.
True.
There are too many programs, too many universities offering slightly nuanced programs, one from the other, which no one understands.
Right.
Especially someone who is in 10th standard or 12th standard definitely does not understand this. So finding a unique fit is very important for you, which you will get with the help of question number 1, what is right for me? Am I even knowing? My self-awareness is nowhere questioned till the time I actually come to 10th standard and I realize that, okay, now I'm wondering what to choose. So it starts, Himangi, with self-awareness.
Okay.
Self-introspection on 2 things. 1, what is my strength and what excites me?
Okay.
Because we have students who are taking the so-called trending or in-demand courses, but then they feel totally stuck. Either they land up with jobs which are related to that field and then they feel stuck in their roles.
Right.
So we don't want that.
Right.
For me, if you ask me personally, I feel it is not about a journey of your vertical trajectory, that how fast you've achieved or climbed that corporate ladder.
Right.
It is alongside, it is also about how fulfilled a life have you led. You know, are you happy with what you are doing? And that's where your internships come into picture. Where you go out there, live that life and see, do you want this routine for your entire life? Or at least a few years of your life? And that would be a great way to look into the window of your future, that okay, do I like this kind of a lifestyle for myself, a routine morning, day in and day out for myself.
Right.
So internship is important, definitely. Coming back to whether you want to, how do you select the right fit of courses? One is introspecting yourself. Second is not necessarily going by what the YouTube is saying is in demand. Right. Or what someone is giving you some half-baked information. Someone, a distant cousin of yours, come from the US and tells, you know what, this is in demand in US, so now it's going to come to India as a demanding profession.
Right.
No, that's not true. The conditions in the US and the conditions in India are very different.
True.
What may work over there does not necessarily work over here. So I think rather than seeing what is in demand, and no one can predict future employability.
Okay.
At least I, being in this field for many years, I cannot point my finger and say, okay, this is definitely the future. Anything can be your future, and you can be great at anything as long as you do it really well.
Okay.
And if that coincides with your passion, even better.
True.
You know, so as I was talking about intelligences, you are aware that there are so many types of intelligences, but now the time has come where even an ignored intelligence like say naturalistic intelligence can also build a career out of it.
True. Sustainability.
Sustainability is the new age problem. Go become a problem solver with your naturalistic skills.
True.
You don't need to become an MSc finance or an eco analytics. No, you want to be somewhere in sustainability and you love it. You have naturalistic abilities or kinesthetic intelligence, or all the different kinds of intelligences that we talk about.
Right.
So I think there is something for everyone. So find your unique fit rather than finding, what is in demand or is trending. I think that's not a good approach to go by.
So while speaking to you, I also realized that management in itself is also a skill. It's not only managing yourself, it's also managing people around you, communicating with people around you. But sadly, the general feel is that with the advent of AI and technology, many of the roles are becoming redundant.
Yes.
Right? And that is a threat that's not going to go away. Though we understand it cannot replace human interaction and human beings, but how does one deal with this I would not say problem, but how does one keep that in mind that this is here to stay and I have to make it work for myself, not work for it?
Totally. So I would like to answer that in two ways. One is how do you keep yourself abreast, and second is how to be sure that I have these skills which no AI is going to take away from me or compete with me on it. Right. So the first part of it is how do I keep myself abreast? There is no option but to be a lifelong learner.
Right.
I cannot say that, okay, abhi bahut padhai ho gaya, abhi now I'm going to get into my workspace. You have to stay updated because the pace of change is much more than it has been ever before. Okay. The rate at which change is taking place, what's happening 2 months back, is redundant already, right? So you have no option but to stay abreast. How do you stay abreast? You may not be interested in technology, but that's not an answer. You have to be interested in technology, and I think our young students do not need this advice. They are very much comfortable with technology, so there is no giving away over there. Number two is, so then what are the things which AI is doing and which cannot do and I can do it?
Right.
As a manager, I think your leadership skills, AI cannot compete in that. Okay. What kind of a leader are you? Do you have the empathy? Do you have the ability to be inclusive? Do you have the ability to let people grow without a mold?
Right.
Let people display the different qualities that they have in them, and you lead them from the front and from the back, wherever you want. I think those skills no AI can take away. Managers are going to be required. Management is a thing that's always going to stay. But Having said that, as a manager, you yourself also need to be abreast of all the different AI tools that are coming up out there, to replace you. But I think if anyone who is having a reasonable good blend of skills, AI, they will survive, they will coexist. And actually our government is working on skills education.
Right.
Development of skills, development of co-curriculars for the holistic personality development, development of OJT, on the job training. These are all aspects of the new education policy which are very promising.
Yes, so but for another question that comes to my mind is, though education in India is evolving and it is changing, I know the NEP has also put up vocational skills as a part of your normal school curriculum.
Okay.
But that might take a little time in being implemented or even showing results.
Yes.
Right? And there are some students who are right now at a phase where they want to probably not make the right choices, but be aware on how they can make their choices.
Yeah.
So you have already given pointers on what they need to keep in mind, which is, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, having awareness about what you're doing. If a child wants to explore management as a field, are there some things that they should incorporate into their routine, okay, to understand it better? So my perspective here lies more with the younger generation who are not exposed to this kind of an environment, or parents who want to develop these skills, because I feel that they are universal. I mean, it's not only for management. Even if I have to go into any other field, I will still need those skills.
Yeah. So I think it's important that you keep an open mind.
Right.
Sometimes very early on people decide, or I've seen this happens in family, कि अरे ये तो बहुत ये ऐसा है तो ये तो डॉक्टर ही बनेगा, या ये बहुत ऐसा है, she is very meticulous. You put that into the child's head.
True.
And then the child starts talking like that, thinking like that, and closes his doors to all the other options that are available. Right. So I think as parents, we should not, we should of course try and keep showing them that, these are the skills you seem to be having better than the others. But don't link them to professions which they eventually going to land up with.
Right.
That's not a very healthy thing to do, I think, very early on. Having said that, what they can do, they can visit a lot of career fairs.
Okay.
Like SVKM has the Mastermind Career Fair, if you must be aware of. Like now we're having it on 13th April, where all the colleges of SVKM will come under one roof and students are free to browse. All the college principals, vice principals, head of different departments will be holding stalls. You go out there and talk whatever you want to talk. Okay. Take all the brochures, profiles, there'll be seminars, sessions. You attend over there with an open mind, without thinking that, no, I am interested, my child is not interested in science, he's only going to go in commerce, so you only go and visit all the commerce stalls and that's it, you're done for the day. Don't do it that way. Your child is just in 7th, 8th standard. Go and show your children everything that's a possibility, and then, of course, we are there to guide them, but somewhere let them take their call. It's very important.
Great. So I think that's for all the parents here, that let them explore what's available.
They should
and
explore.
Talk to people to understand what is needed.
Yeah.
Because I think, somebody else has also told me that success is a process.
Absolutely.
It's not a milestone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So having said that, when we were speaking, we also, you were saying that many of your students want to come back to teaching.
Yes.
And come back to giving back to the other students of how they can improve. So tell me how teaching as a profession for management is shaping up to be, and do you think that they should give back to the society?
Absolutely. You've touched upon something that's very heartwarming. When we see that these students who were on that side of the benches are now on this side with us.
Okay.
It is very heartwarming. I think more and more youngsters, or people in their 20s, are realizing how fulfilling it is to teach.
Okay.
And not just fulfilling as a career, it is very enriching to their own personalities, and they are thoroughly enjoying it. And it is sooner or later turning into a lucrative profession as well.
Okay.
With a lot of foreign universities coming in, a lot of autonomous colleges, now into picture, I think it's a good profession to actually think about. Earlier times there were that, okay, the women, so that, they can take care of the kids and come back home at a decent time, you kind of get into teaching. But that's not the case anymore. So a lot of our students who've come back, in fact, are men, who finished their MBAs and they worked for some time, and then they were like, ma'am, can we teach?
Okay.
I said, of course you can teach. What are you doing right now? Like, I have some free time on hand, can I come? And they have been fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, students really like them because they are young, they are vibrant, they have a little experience from the industry, they are, kind of their generation. I think it's a great blend. They are far more ahead in terms of what's happening now as compared to me.
Okay.
And that brings a lot of relatability for the students. So I think students are more, of course your academic grades need to be good, you need to have some basic net set cleared. PhD is preferred these days. You need to have some kind of research inclination, maybe 1 or 2 papers that you have presented at decent conferences. These would make you stand out in that line.
Okay.
But yes, they are showing, this trend is developing. I have a lot of people in my staff room who are ex-students.
Okay.
And I think your question was, sorry, I missed your
Giving
question.
back to the society.
Giving back
also.
to the society, definitely. So you can start up even as a visiting faculty or as a full-timer, or sometimes a lot of our students are coming back as industry experts into our board of studies.
Okay.
So we have these board of studies where every 6 months we relook into our curriculum just to keep it abreast of all the latest things that are happening. So these people come back as industry experts and give their valuable inputs.
Okay.
So, or they who are now, a lot of them are now having startups of their own, industries of their own. So they are calling our students for internships. So you know how life comes a full circle.
Right.
They feel absolutely happy to give it back to their college.
Awesome. So while we were talking, you said that some foreign universities are also coming up here and there are autonomous bodies and all that. Hina, as an educator who's aware of this landscape of education, do you think that education in management or education is better in a few countries than India?
I would not be able to comment on that. I would say that India, the education what we have now is miles ahead than what we had a few years back.
Okay.
I can compare it historically, but I don't think, it's not that I do not want to, I don't think I have the right information to compare it at a global level. But I would say that our students are now far more equipped to be at par with the global students. That is definitely that.
Okay, great. So, Hina, is there any other pieces of nuggets of advice that you would like to share with either the parents or the students who are watching us right now as to what they can do to make a career, to be successful, and to ensure that they have the field of management explored in the right way? So what can they pick up, or probably what is it that they need to continuously keep in mind?
Yeah.
This is not about particular courses, this is not about research.
Yeah.
It's about something that as a skill set, particularly, they need to develop and keep in mind that this is going to be needed. As you said, something like agility.
Yeah. Yes.
But agility does not develop overnight. So they will need certain things that they do to ensure that they are able to cope up, right?
Yeah.
So what are those few things, or what is the advice that you as an educator would like to give the audience?
Right. I think it should be an approach, an attitude of continuously learning. There is learning also and a lot of unlearning too.
Okay.
If I am working on Excel over the years in a certain way, MS Excel, and now an AI tool has come which makes life easier, sure, let me take it. Let me learn that AI tool and improve my efficiency and productivity. And let people, you cannot use AI as a taboo word.
Right.
You have to take AI as one of the person who's sitting out there in the conference room and is holding a lot of power out there. He's having a strong bargaining power on this decision making table.
Right.
You have to take him inside your curriculum rather than resisting students to use AI tools.
Okay.
You know, I want you to use AI tools and make strategies and then present them in the class.
Okay.
I want that students should learn a lot of things, and I think alongside even faculties, parents, you need to keep a very open mind now, because the world can go in any way.
Right.
There is not one person who will say, I know, you know what, this is going to happen in this certain way, the field of education. No, it's evolving in all ways. And that's the reason the new education policy has also given multiple entry exit options.
Okay.
You know, at our times when we used to take a decision, we were bound by that and we had to take a career in that.
Right.
After probably wasting a few precious years. But now with the multiple entry exit options, you can go out there, try it out, don't like it, fine. You can still change. Okay. It's very common now for students to take gap years, to just go out there. I want to be a writer. Okay, I want to take a gap year and explore some writing avenues. Take some time, write something, and then maybe think what I want to do. Right. You know, and that's where, when you were telling me compare India and global, that's where we are. And we shouldn't, as parents, expect our children to be in this crazy rat race to finish everything in 2 years and 3 years and 2 years and done, get into your job. I think if we leave this attitude somewhere, children will be comfortable in working at their own pace.
True.
You know, and the right pace. True. The right area where they have to find their niche for themselves. True. They're happy.
So yes, I do agree with you, but I think another aspect to it is that, as you said, use AI as a tool. It cannot replace your intelligence. No. So that is something that even the generation needs to understand, that it's a tool to increase your productivity. It is not a tool to do your work and your thinking.
No, definitely. If you let AI take away the curiosity from you, if you let AI take away the creativity from you, you're going to be left with nothing but a shallow personality.
Right.
Because most of the activities which are happening in the classroom are to enrich the critical thinking of the student.
Right.
But sadly, students are making AI do their work.
Yes.
So the AI is getting sharper in the bargain.
Right.
And you are really not getting much, besides maybe a few higher grades if you manage to fool the teacher that you know it's your work and not the AI work. But in the long run, it's really not helping. Right. So as teachers, what we do is, okay, why should you hide and do? You let AI do your work, fine. But you come here and tell me what it is about and how you are going to improvise on this. Or if AI is giving you 4 options, give me reason why you will choose one of these 4 options and tell me, and make a successful model out of it and show it to me.
Right.
So to incorporate this, Hemangi, we have a lot of experiential learning. See, anyway, the theory heavy, lecture heavy classes are a thing of the past.
Right.
You know, only chalk and talk does not work, and it shouldn't.
Right.
So we are having a lot of activity based learning. We are having experiential learning. So to give you an example, for entrepreneurship, we actually hold an entrepreneurship mela.
Okay.
Where the students build their startup idea,
okay,
display it, and that's where the marks are. Okay, go take all the help you want from AI. That's fine, right?
Right.
So if you have rural marketing, students actually go out there into the rural market, make documentaries and come back. Is AI going to do that? No. True. So if we have sports marketing as a subject, the students actually get their marks by organizing the college sports day.
Okay.
So we have a lot of tie-ups. Right now we are having a tie-up with Khadi India.
Okay.
So if we have sales and CRM, students go out there and they are made to sell the Khadi products actually.
Okay.
And they get marks on that.
Okay.
So I think as AI is coming, we are also coming back with newer ways.
Right.
You know. So in a way it's good. Even we are sharpening our skills by giving them projects which they will really learn from.
So this is something that's amazing to know, because I did not know that colleges are also doing so much,
Yes.
or continuously upgrading themselves, especially NM, because I have first-hand experience talking to you. So this is great. I think this is something that people aren't aware of, or even counselors do not share, or they are
Yeah.
also not aware when they are giving guidance to their students
Yeah.
for pursuing a particular field. Also, from our conversation today, I have realized how important profile building with a strong skill set, whatever you are good at,
Yeah.
is so important.
Yeah.
And how you cannot ignore where the role of AI and how to use it to enhance our productivity.
Right.
So thank you, Hina, for a real Dr. Hina, I am sorry, for such a enriching conversation today. And I hope this gives our audience a lot of insights as to what they require and how they need to work to achieve what they want to achieve. And you can begin at any point of time. So do share in your comments, and if there is anything that we can help you with. And thank you so much, Dr. Hina, for being with
Pleasure
us
has been
today.
mine.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.